All right, I know the other day I said I wasn't going to make any food videos or talk about food or anything, but here I am talking about food. And the reason I'm doing it is because of a little experiment. This wire's driving me crazy. A little experiment that I didn't really intentionally put myself through, but I did put myself through an experiment. And what that experiment was I used to make a lot of soups. It is so hot in here. Have those, and then afterwards I'd be really bloated, and I just figured, it was just because I ate. And I'm like, this is getting really ridiculous. So I wanted to talk about starches, what you might be going through in starches, what you might want to try with starches, and why you might be bloated with starches, because I know I do get a fair bit of comments on that. Some people will DM me about it. Some people will ask me about the salt and everything like that. So I wanted to talk about that. I put myself through this experiment. I'm like, you know what? I think in my last video I talked about I kind of hurt my knee and I really wasn't able to walk all that much. So I decided that I was going to only get minimal things, and I was just getting potatoes, rice, corn, peas, and a couple of other things, and I was eating them, and I didn't want to have any of the extra weight on me, so I wasn't buying any of the the vegetable stocks or anything like that. What else? And vegetable stock is mostly what I made my soups with. Occasionally I would use like an oat milk or something like that just to thicken it up a little bit with some potato starch, just to thicken it up a little bit, and I stopped doing that. So I just, I kind of made the same meals, but just no vegetable stock, no oatmeal or oat milk in it, nothing like that. So just rice, potatoes, corn, just basic stuff like that. And crazy how much less bloating there is, so much. And it makes me think, because like one of the things that a lot of the starch people would talk about is adding water because it's harder to digest starches. Well, it was making me so bloated, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was adding a lot of weight to me, and I didn't feel like having that weight on. I feel like I have it all coming on. It's so hot. Maybe try taking all the water out. Maybe don't drink during when you eat. Maybe drink before you eat, like a little bit of water. I don't know. That's a Durian Rider suggestion, and I think Freely's suggestion, drinking like a liter of water before, like half hour before you eat. I don't know that you have enough time to get your stomach acid to where it needs to be to make that useful, because your stomach acid is supposed to be between a pH of 1 and 2. So if you are taking that advice and you're having issues digesting food, maybe don't do that. I was surprised. So it's about 10 days now, and it's a drastic difference. Now, if you watched my last video where I talked about walking and how your digestion gets moved kind of like a washing machine if you walk correctly, that might have something to do with it. They do kind of coincide with each other. So I don't know. I don't know if that has anything to do with it whatsoever. Me changing up my walking style, I don't know. And I never will know, because now that I know how to walk more and more correctly, like almost every day, that's just going to be a part of my life. So I can't even almost remember how I used to walk in many instances. So it's not something I can test, nor would I want to test, because the way I used to walk is very detrimental to your health. And that's it. I mean, oh, and another thing that I really notice that helps quite a bit is combining different starches. So like I was mentioning, like those were what I was eating, like the rice, the potatoes, the corn, and peas. Like I would just have those all together. If I just have potatoes, or if I just have rice, or if I just have, I've never really just done corn, but if I just do, even if I just do pasta, it doesn't digest as well. Like the other day, I had very little left in the cupboards behind me, and because I couldn't, I really banged up my knee on, I honestly don't even, I woke up one day and my knee was just like, I don't know what happened. So I didn't have a lot of stuff here. I had maybe 1.5 pounds potatoes, half a bag of pasta, an old thing of Asian noodles, and like a half a thing of beans left, which I don't use a lot of beans. I really was just cleaning out the cupboard. I won't buy beans anymore. They just don't agree with me. But anyway, so I've cooked the potatoes, some corn, not corn, some carrots, and I whipped that up into a sauce. I cooked the pasta before that, and I just combined everything, and man, did that digest well. It doesn't even sound like it would digest well, but it did. Another thing that I was trying was, I'm looking at it right now, I forget what the name of it is, but it's Enzypedia or whatever. Honestly, it makes turd dust for me. It's the best way to describe it. I don't like that at all. So I really don't eat it that much. I actually had it the day that I had the pasta and the potato mixture. Really wish I wouldn't have, because it would have been just fine, I'm sure. But that's my suggestions for you, is if you're having an issue with this, combined starches. I don't know what that does but in the body, but it definitely does something, because I've, over the years, when I have combined different starches, it really goes well. Like an example of this is like a curry, where you got rice, potatoes. If you really like chickpeas, you can have chickpeas in it, and whatever else that you're gonna have, and you're gonna combine that all in one dish, and it digests really well. Now, if you make a traditional curry, there is a lot of like fat, like coconut milk and stuff, and I don't do that. I will sometimes add oat milk to that, again with potato starch, slurry in that, and see how that goes. But yeah, so anyway, if you're having an issue, that's what I've been doing lately, the last like 10-ish days, and I have not had at all the bloating. Interestingly, I did have like almost a ramen that I made, and I got really bloated from, like really bloated from that. And it was actually just a handmade ramen. It wasn't like an instant pack one. That did not go well at all. My suggestion is take out as much of the liquid as possible. That kind of goes back to an old Chinese teaching, where if your stomach is too, or your intestines and stomach are too wet, then you can't really digest well, and it spills out into the body. That goes back to that. You don't see a ton of soups in some, well, I can only go based on the Chinese people that I've known over the years. I didn't see them eating a ton of soup. I saw them eating a lot of cabbage, a lot of rice, a little bit of meat, not a ton of liquid. You do see in Japanese cuisine, because I actually knew a fairly large amount of Japanese people over the years. You do see more soups with the Japanese people that I've known anyways. And they don't have issues with digestion. So again, just play around with it. You know, I've had to. I have definitely noticed a massive difference. And again, this could all lead back to the fact that I started walking a little more correctly almost every day. I don't know. So try it out for yourself. I do get a lot of questions about it. I've been getting a lot of questions too about adding meat in. You know, I'm not like the biggest vegan affiliate. So do what you want to. I really think that the people are adding that stuff back in because they can't get enough calories in. These are, like, if you really track these people are eating very, very calorie dilute foods, and then all of a sudden they're eating steaks, and they're wondering why they got energy back and they got all this kind of stuff back. I'm assuming that's what's causing it. That I don't know for sure. Or that's a reason for their, you know, miraculous healing. And again, you know, vegan is Oreos. You know, like it's a wide gamut. There's actually almost more processed food in vegan life than there is in the SAD diets, which isn't good. So again, you know, play around with this stuff. If you're eating a lot of that and you're having digestion issues, that's probably the #1 cause. If you're not eating that, and you're having a lot of extra liquid. And here's another thing, I don't really buy into this, you gotta drink a ton of liquid, especially after I looked into that Christopher Walker. I did make one video with Christopher Walker. He's nice, he doesn't copyright strike you, he copyright shares you, which seems to take all your revenue and give it to him. I thought it was a matching thing, but it seems to not be a matching thing. So I'm not going to keep making videos about him if all of my work is going to pay his bills. So, but I looked more into this. Like, if you're overweight, especially, drinking a lot of extra water is just driving out your electrolytes. There's a really interesting video about this. Maybe I'll link it down below. I probably won't, but maybe I will. Look at Christopher Walker and talking about salt and sodium. And he said that when you're slender, you can drink a ton of water and it actually aids you. But when you're overweight, and I can't remember the reason why, it hinders you, and you start washing out your electrolytes, your salts, and all that. And so then you start having you pee. Like one thing that I know, as soon as I drink water, I pee, and it's ridiculous. When I don't do that, when I just kind of I'll wake up and have a little bit of water, I'll have a little bit of magnesium. Maybe a little bit of salt, and I don't have to pee right away. Like, I pee when I get up, but then after that, but then throughout the day, like every time I take a big chug of water, it's like it immediately comes out. So a lot of the stuff that he was talking about does check out. So again, that's another thing, test that with yourself. Don't go reading studies. Like, I guess I did watch his video, but I did it on myself. Like, I didn't watch his video and then have to go read 32 studies or anything like that. I just tried it on myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then when I started dropping all this liquid out of my life, I started peeing clearish. It's like a light tan. And I'm like, before, when I would drink all this water, I mean, the stuff was coming out. I wish I had something yellow. Here's the photograph I took. This yellow right here, it would come out of there, it was ridiculous. So it was coming out looking like that. It was getting and then I dropped the water way down, and all of a sudden things were working correctly again. Anyway, that's my video. I think I've stretched this longer than I needed to. But again, it goes back to stop reading all these studies, stop questioning, or start questioning what's going on in your own life and try it out. Like, it only took me a couple of days to see the bloating and the water retention go way down. And then every single day, by the time I'm done with my day and I'm about to go to bed, I don't have a ton of bloating anymore like I used to, or water retention. I'm not dry, but when I wake up in the morning, I am. But it's noticeably, we're talking 10 or 15 pound difference here with me. It might not be that much with you. You might be, a small human watching this. So you might not have that. You might not have. And another thing that people keep asking me, do I want to get to 180, 175? No, I don't want to get to 175, 80 pounds. I mean, you probably can't see it in this, but I used to lift, I got muscle mass. I mean, I don't know why I retained it so much. A lot of people, after they get done lifting, their muscles disappear. Mine didn't. I don't know. So, no, I don't want to get that light. Hopefully this video helped you out. I don't know. Again, you really have to test it for yourself, man. You gotta test it for yourself. You cannot always be everybody, things. You gotta just try it for yourself. But that's the video. Anyway, comments, questions down below. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.